Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another ordinary council meeting for Monday, the 27th of March 2023. Are there any apologies? Item 1, meeting opening. Item 1.1, attendance. Are there any apologies this evening, Ms Weatherall?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We've got two apologies this evening from Councillor Jim Mametti and from Councillor Lana Formoso.
Thank you. Item 1.2, acknowledgement of traditional owners of the land. Council acknowledges the traditional owners and custodians of this land, the Bunurong people, and pays our respects to their elders past, present and emerging, while also recognising their deep and continuing connections to climate, culture and country. We also pay our respect to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples and their elders and acknowledge their journey. Item 1.3, offering of prayer, reflection or affirmation. As part of Council's commitment to recognising the cultural and spiritual diversity of our community, the prayer this evening will be offered by Mrs Ursula Aruma from the Sri Sathya Sai organisation, a member of the Greater Dandenong Interfaith Network. The prayer will be read out by Councillor Rhonda Garrard. Please stand.
Jesus, friend of a lonely heart, you are their heaven, you are their peace, you are their salvation. You are their serenity in moments of struggle and amidst an ocean of doubts. You are the bright ray that lights on the path of our lives. You are everything to a lonely soul. You understand their hearts even though they remain silent. You know their weaknesses and you comfort and heal. Please spare them suffering when they can no longer bear it. We ask this through Christ our Lord. Amen.
Council would like to acknowledge the passing of former State Labor MP Terry Norris last week. He left a wonderful legacy of valuable community service and was passionate about advocating for the needs of our Greater Dandenong community. We would like to extend our sincere and deepest condolences to Terry's family at this difficult time. We honour his inspiring legacy. May he rest in peace. Vale Terry Norris. Item 1.4, confirmation of minutes of previous meeting. Moved by...
Happy to move it.
Moved by Councillor Milkovich, seconded by Councillor Lim. Are there any questions? Is there any opposition? As there's no opposition, I declare this item carried. Item 1.5, disclosures of interest. Are there any disclosures of interest, Ms Weatherall?
No, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Item 1.6, adoption of Audit and Risk Committee meeting minutes. Moved by Councillor Garrard, seconded by Councillor Long. Are there any questions? Is there any opposition? As there's no opposition, I declare this item carried. Item 2, Officers' Reports Part 1, 2.1 Documents for Sealing, 2.1.1 Documents for Sealing. Moved by Councillor Trung, seconded by Councillor Lim. Are there any questions? Is there any opposition? As there's no opposition, I declare this item carried. Item 2.2, Documents for Tabling. 2.2.1, Documents for Tabling. Moved by Councillor Garrard, seconded by Councillor Tan. Are there any questions? Is there any opposition? As there's no opposition, I declare this item carried. Item 2.2.2, Petitions and Joint Letters. Moved by Councillor Garrard, seconded by Councillor Lim. Are there any questions? Is there any opposition? As there's no opposition, I declare this item carried. Item 2.3, statutory planning applications. 2.3.1, planning delegated decisions issued February 2023. Moved by Councillor Long, seconded by Councillor Tan. Are there any questions? Is there any opposition? As there's no opposition, I declare this item carried. Item 2.3.2, planning decisions issued by Planning Minister's Delegate, February 2023. Moved by Councillor Garrard, seconded by Councillor Lim. Are there any questions, councillors? Is there any opposition? As there's no opposition, I declare this item carried. Item 2.3.3, town planning application.
I have a conflict of interest in this matter,
Okay, thank
as
you,
I
Councillor
raised
Dunn.
last week. So this matter, I have a conflict of interest. It's an indirect conflict of interest due to a non-pecuniary interest. The type of interest being that I am the managing agent for the property mentioned in this application.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Dark. So item 2.3.3, town planning application number 181 to 183, Lonsdale Street, Dandenong. Planning application number PLA 22/0076. Moved by Councillor Garrard, seconded by Councillor Milkovich. Are there any questions? Is there any opposition? As there's no opposition, I declare this item carried. Can we please bring Councillor Dark back in? Item 3, question time public. Ms Weatherall, please.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. And our first question is from Alex Andriadis of Keysborough concerning the cat curfew. And the first question is, a study was done by Pet Rescue Australia in September 2022 showing cat curfews introduced in Melbourne councils and indeed around the world are ineffective. Have all councillors read this? Can you please respond? And they've provided a website. The study outlines how cat curfews are an ineffective strategy. In parts of the USA, the laws have been repealed. The report also cites a 2018 RSPCA paper on managing cats, and he provides a link to that as well. Have all councillors read this RSPCA report? His second question is, what studies can council show that curfew laws even work? For example, do the laws restore endangered animal populations, or have they in fact had the opposite effect and just ended up resulting in more pests and birds and rats? And the third part of the question, how will the cat curfew be policed? Are we going to have to pay more in rates to have officers working overtime to catch cats at night? Or will this rely on neighbours jobbing each other in which case does council really want to encourage the bitterness amongst residents this will cause? Can I ask the Director City Planning, Design and Amenity, Jodie Bosman, to respond, please?
Thank you, Mr Bosman.
Madam Mayor, thank you through yourself to Ms Andriadis. Council is aware of the attached studies and have been partnered with the authors and others, including state government agencies, for many years. Council is well aware one tool or approach alone will have little influence on the broader issue of cat overpopulation within the municipality. Within Council's Cat Management Strategy 2022, it is identified that a cat curfew can be of great benefit when utilised within a broader plan of initiatives over a longer period of the strategy. Council views the cat curfew as one of many tools to combat the larger issue of cat overpopulation and recognises the absolute requirement to increase the number of registered animals as the number one initiative of its plan. Council has nominated the importance of the following initiatives within its strategy to realise and provide tangible change to this extremely important issue, and they are education, community ownership of the issue, financial incentives including desexing and re-registration, stronger laws, and amongst those stronger laws we're talking about the cat curfew, and Council encourages the community to have their say by completing the online survey located on Council's website, as all comments will be included and they will be considered by the officers in the ultimate recommendation and report back to Council. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Mr Bosman. Ms Weatherall.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. The next question is from Louisa Willoughby of Springvale and concerns South East Leisure access times. In a follow-up to my question about 24-hour access to the NPAC gym from 27th of February, the response indicated that South East Leisure have had limited time to set up access and safety requirements for 24-hour access. 1. When are staff going to have time to configure access? 2. When will the access configuration be completed and 24-hour access be achieved? And why did the review of opening hours decide not to extend on weekends, noting that hours during the week were slightly extended? Can I ask the Acting Director Community Strengthening, Mr Forster, to respond, please?
Thank you. Mr Forster, please.
Through you, Madam Mayor, and thank you, Ms Willoughby, for your question. The process of preparing the NPAC gym for extended access is now currently underway. The completion of configuration and testing will occur during April 2023. Outcomes of risk assessments, configurations and testing will determine the next steps and an exact timeline for launching extended gym access. A review of the NPAC gym utilisation identified that demand for extended hours on weekends was low, with just 3.5% of visitation on weekends after 5 p.m, equates to about 44 visits in over a 2-month period. There was greater demand for extended hours on weeknights. South East Leisure will continue to communicate with members and the wider community around opportunities at the redeveloped NPAC. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr Forster. Ms Weatherall.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. And our next question is from Gay Guest of Keysborough and concerns hard rubbish. The Mayor announced that picking up dumped rubbish is costing the City Greater Dandenong $2.9 million a year. What is the budget for booked home hard waste collections annually in comparison? What would be the cost if every home was given 2 waste collections a year? What would it be for 3 waste collections a year like other LGAs? Would this eradicate or go somewhere to reducing dumped hard rubbish and the hefty bill? Would this excessive cost pay for extra home collections? Any saving would help employ more waste sustainability staff. Can we trial extra home collections to see if this works to help keep it clean? Can I ask our Acting Director, Business Engineering and Major Projects, Mr Craig Chinkagrana, to respond, please?
Thank you. Mr Chinkagrana, please.
Thank you, Mayor. The budget for the booked hard waste collections is approximately $2.2 million per year, and the cost of 2 collections per year would be $4.4 million. Similarly, if this was extended to 3 collections per year, the cost would be approximately $6.6 million. However, we're unaware of any other councils that are offering this number of collections as part of their service. We consider it unlikely that the provision of additional hard waste collections will reduce the dumped rubbish, as the majority of the dumped items and materials are not typically collected as part of the booked hard waste collections. For example, general household garbage, tyres, car batteries, car parts and construction materials. Hard waste collections also cater to all of the community, however not everyone necessarily takes them up. In 2021-2022, only 33.7% of eligible residents took up this service. Home cycle collections, another service we provide, cost approximately $10,000. However, over the past 6 events, there's only been minimal uptake, with only 4.9% of residents using this home cycle service. Based on this low level of uptake, it is unlikely that we would consider expanding the trial to include additional collections at this stage.
Thank you, Mr Chinkagrana. Ms Weatherall, please.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. And our next question is from Gay Guest again, and this concerns community safety forums. A packed community safety forum was a return to when people banded together to solve a problem. Problems that we as a community have been facing and challenging since 1983 to 1999 in Eddie Micallef's era, and in 2015 when Claire O'Neill held a drug forum in Springvale with Luke Cornelius as keynote speaker. Up to 40 years is a long time to be on a hamster wheel when other deadly diseases have been controlled or eradicated. Back in early 2000s, a former council director closed down the local community drug action forum, saying we no longer had a problem. Only one incorporated drug action committee survived during that reshuffle. Before we throw the baby out with the bathwater, can we revisit the problems and programs of the past, so that we're not reinventing the wheel for the future, which is time, money and resources. As we are the most homeless, the most multicultural, the most unemployed, this region does not want to also be known as the area with the most family violence, youth injustices and drug problems. What will be City of Greater Dandenong's outcomes from the recent Community Safety Forum? What programs and partnerships will be reinforced and delivered to combat these issues? What can we do as a community to help Victoria Police overcome these alarming statistics? Because this problem indeed belongs to all of us as we're immersed in it daily. In our local schools, programs like hands-on learning and skill-based assessment and training are wonderful for the disengaged students. We need more programs that build resilience and self-worth. The problems are still lingering. Where to from here? So can I please ask Mr Forster to respond to this?
Thank you. Mr Forster, please.
Through you, Madam Mayor, and thank you, Ms Guest, for your question. The Community Safety Forum on the 22nd of March at Tatterson Reserve was an initiative of Victoria Police and is one of only 2 statewide forums that Victoria Police will be conducting this year. Greater Dandenong City Council will continue the close cooperation with VicPol and advocate to state government for additional resources to address community safety concerns across the municipality. In the forum, Victoria Police representatives detailed initiatives to strengthen neighbourhood police tasking, placement of the divisional mobile CCTV trailer at hotspot locations, and additional focused operations supported by units from Central Office. Council already has significant collaboration with Victoria Police over a range of programs, and initiatives and outcomes will be enhanced by greater intelligence gathering. The opportunity for further partnerships with other state government agencies and not-for-profits will also be explored, particularly around innovative approaches to mitigate community safety issues in the municipality. As noted by Victoria Police, where community members have information or concerns, they are encouraged to approach and share these matters as soon as possible with local Victoria Police representatives via the email provided or directly at their local police station, not just when they need lights and sirens. Victoria Police outlined how they are working with schools across the region. Many council departments also work with schools on leadership and organised activities like holiday programs, etc. Council will continue to partner with Victoria Police and agencies on homelessness, hotspots, etc., and through the Community Safety Advisory Committee to address matters impacting on the safety across the city. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr Forster. Ms Weatherall.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. And our next question is from Susan Smith of Dandenong, who would like to come forward and ask the question herself. So she'd like to approach the microphone, please.
Thank you, Ms Smith.
Everybody, and thank you to the people that did answer my text message that I sent the other day. I'm from Valley Village Mews. It's a retirement village in Dandenong, and I've spoken to most people there, and this is their point of view with this question I'm asking as well. So here we go. With Keysborough South Community Hub, the concept design was changed based on community feedback. And then the revised concept design was endorsed at a council meeting. Why is the process different for the Dandenong residents though? It seems like Dandenong residents are getting the poor man's choice, and they're told select design 1, design 2 or design 3 and then be quiet.
Thank you, Ms Smith. Mr Forster, please.
Through you, Madam Mayor, and thank you, Ms Smith, for your question. The development of the Dandenong Community Hub has seen Council develop 3 separate concept designs based on community feedback. All the feedback gathered as part of Council's consultation in late 2022 to determine a preferred concept design has been prepared into a report which was presented to a Council briefing session on the 20th of March 2023 and has now been scheduled for a presentation at a formal Council meeting such as this on the 11th of April. This important feedback will be incorporated into the detailed design phase, which will involve further consultation.
Thank you, Mr Forster. Thank you, Ms Smith.
Thank you.
Ms Weatherall.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. And our next question is from Sylvia Mastrogiovanni of Dandenong, and again concerns Dandenong Community Hub. Mr. Giovanni would like to come forth and speak to her item. If she'd like to come to the microphone, please.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sylvia.
Thanks. Okay. Dandenong residents have been waiting 16 years for the Dandenong Community Hub and are passionate about it. In the November 2022 Dandenong Community Hub design consultation, I know of at least 100 residents that selected Concept Design 2. But they also submitted many changes to the design of Concept Design 2 to make it a fully integrated, intergenerational hub. Like a common foyer linking the children's wing and the community wing. Is Council going to make changes to the Concept Design 2 based on the community feedback received in November 2022? Or are they going to ignore that feedback? And if so, why?
Thank you, Sylvia.
I just wanted to just add one more. I'm sorry, just one little sentence. We need to get this concept design correct now.
Thank you, Sylvia. Mr. Forster, please.
Through you, Madam Mayor, thank you, Ms Mastroianni, for your question.
Okay.
Certainly can reassure you that the feedback that has been provided through the consultation last year will absolutely not be ignored. All the feedback gathered as part of the consultation to determine a concept design has been prepared into a report. That report was presented to Council on the 20th of March and it will be scheduled for presentation at a formal Council meeting on the 11th of April. The full consultation report detailing all of that will be attached to that report. The important feedback will be incorporated into the detailed design phase, which will involve further consultation, certainly with yourself and your group.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Forster. Sylvia, I believe you have a second question.
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
Thank you. Oh, this continues on with that. In the previous council meeting, residents were told that there was going to be a report to come to an April council meeting about the Dandenong Community Hub. However, the purpose of the report was not mentioned. Is it a report just making the results of the consultation public? Is it a report endorsing a particular concept design? Is it a report asking councillors to agree on particular changes to the concept design? Maybe we've got some answers. Is it a report asking councillors to agree on particular changes to the concept design, or does this report have some other purpose, like putting this project on hold with an incomplete concept design and more years to be wasted after 16 years of waiting by Dandenong residents? So, I'd be interested just to hear.
Thank you, Sylvia. Mr. Forster, please.
Through you, Madam Mayor, again, Sylvia, thank you for your question. The Dandenong Community Hub, obviously, has been, as I just mentioned, has been scheduled for consideration at a formal council meeting on the 11th of April. The complete consultation findings will be attached to that report. The report will propose that council consider and endorse a preferred concept design based on that consultation. The concept design will adhere to the requirements detailed in Notice of Motion 89, Progressing Planning for a Dandenong Community Hub, that was endorsed at the council meeting on Monday the 14th of September 2020. That report will also recommend a path forwards towards detailed design.
Thank you, Mr. Forster.
So
Thank you.
could I just clarify, because there's all this information coming to me, right? So thanks, Mr. Forster. So could I just...
Okay. Yeah,
Can
no,
I have
that's
a
fine.
clarification?
You can ask for clarification.
Yes,
That's
thank
fine.
you. I thought so. So you said on the 11th of April?
That's correct.
On the 11th of April, we will have some information. Will we, this residents of Dandenong, will we be able to be sure that we will not be left hanging and then be told it's going to be scrapped?
Mr. Forster?
Sylvia, all I can say is that we'll present a report. The decision on the action coming out of that report is a decision for council. The report makes a recommendation. That report will be made provided publicly in advance of the council meeting, but the decision of where to from here is a decision that rests with council.
Thank you, Mr. Forster. Thank you, Sylvia.
Thank you.
Ms. Weatherall.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. And our next question is from Mr. Brian Hunter of Keysborough, and it concerns road safety and installation of traffic signals at Chandler Road, Isaac Road and Orloff Street. I have previously raised concern with Council in regards to the intersection of Chandler Road, Isaac Road and Orloff Street in Keysborough. My concern is the high level of danger for vehicles and pedestrians, especially during school drop-off and pick-up times. It's located close to Keysborough Secondary College. I've personally witnessed many near misses of both vehicles and school students, backlogs of vehicles on Chandler Road in both directions waiting to turn into Isaac Road as I wait for prolonged periods to move across Chandler Road from Orloff Street to drive my own children to their schools. I believe traffic signals would greatly improve the safety and flow of this intersection. However, when I brought this to council attention, I was told it is a Vic Roads matter. When I contacted Vic Roads, I was then told it was a local council matter. Can I please have some clarity as to who's responsible for this intersection and whether this issue can be addressed? I've noticed that the intersection of Corrigan Road and Harold Road is now in the process of having traffic signals installed, which is great, but I think the intersection in question is a much higher risk and should be upgraded to make it safer for all. Can I ask our Acting Director, Business Engineering and Major Projects, Mr. Trinkagrana, to answer, please?
Thank you. Mr. Trinkagrana, please.
Thank you, Mayor. I can confirm that the Department of Transport and Planning is the responsible authority for this length of Chandler Road, north of Cheltenham Road, and this includes all of the intersections, including the one in question. The Department is responsible for reviewing and addressing any requests for alterations or improvements, including any management, operational or safety matters. To assist in this regard, Council's traffic engineering officers have forwarded these concerns onto their counterparts at the Department, and they've requested that they be reviewed and that there be a response to the matters raised.
Thank you, Mr. Trinkagrana. Ms. Weatherall, please.
Sorry, Madam Mayor, we just had a little technical problem there. The next question is from Tina Kongs of Dandenong concerning Dandenong Community Hub. At the last council meeting, I asked when a detailed consultation report with actual public responses, like the report that came to a council meeting following the 2020 Keysborough South Community Hub design consultation, would be made publicly available. I was told that consultation findings would be made available. That does not answer my original question, as consultation findings are not necessarily the same thing, being often a very different level of detail. They may mean a few paragraphs with some dot points. Can you please answer my original question, as I'm still in the dark? Will the level of detail that was provided as part of the 2020 Keysborough South Community Hub design consultation be provided publicly, and if not, why not? Can Mr. Forster please respond to this?
Thank you, Mr. Forster.
Through you, Madam Mayor, and thank you, Ms Congas, for your question. As we've previously stated, the results from the Dandenong Community Hub consultation in late 2022 to determine a preferred concept design have been prepared into a report which was presented to a council briefing on the 20th of March. A report has been scheduled for presentation at a formal council meeting on 11th of April. The complete consultation findings will be attached to that report. Following endorsement by Council, the project page on the website will be updated and all stakeholders advised.
Thank you, Mr Forster. Ms Weatherall.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. And the next question is from Geraldine Gonzalez of Dandenong concerning Dandenong Community Hub. As all land in Stewart Street is now owned by Council, will the residents and ratepayers of Dandenong now get the community hub they've been requesting that has been made good in umpteen submissions and presentations submitted to Council over the years? When will this commence? Will it consider all requests for quality bespoke community hub as requested by ratepayers, and if not, why? Can Mr Forster please respond?
Thank you. Mr Forster, please.
Through you, Madam Mayor, thank you, Ms Gonzalez, for your question. Council's Dandenong Community Hub concept plan and consultation has been scheduled for a presentation at a formal Council meeting on 11th of April 2023. The report will propose that Council consider and endorse a preferred concept design. The concept design will adhere to the requirements detailed in Notice of Motion 89, endorsed at the Council meeting on Monday, 14th of September 2020. The report will recommend a path forward towards detailed design.
Thank you, Mr Forster. Ms Weatherall.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. And our next question is from Gay Guest of Keysborough concerning the audit of Community and Sporting Council assets and Dandenong Community Hub. Can there please be an audit of all council assets, community and sporting, with figures showing usage pre and post-COVID to ascertain real-time need? What are the actual usage rates of City of Greater Dandenong residents using our facilities to leasing to residents from other local government associations? This is an unknown factor. This was a bone of contention when fighting for the Morrie Kirby Velodrome, and the other tenant clubs had residents from all local government associations using our facilities, e.g. Lois Tuhig Reserve was providing sporting facilities for interlopers. Before any more decisions are made, actual figures need to be tabled so balanced decisions can be made before master plans end up at tender when no alterations can be made. E.g. childcare, there are now 2 extra childcare facilities in a 2.3 kilometre stretch of road from bypass to Home Co, and residents are itinerant. Historical documents show that a hub at Springers could have been provided in a 1 to 5 year time span back in the day at a fraction of the cost, and that should have been considered instead of building on valuable open space opposite unsuspecting homes who will be greatly impacted by noise, lights and parking. She also has a question regarding Dandenong Community Hub. In regards to Dandenong Community Hub, Festival proves that events in that area must be managed better. The market was there first, and events on that precinct impact greatly on available parking on operational days. A hub there with patrons from both competing for parking would need a calendar of events for both facilities, as existing overflow car park in Stewart Street is sorely needed for market days alone. You cannot keep making decisions which have external ramifications. So would Mr Forster please respond in regards to the Dandenong Community Hub?
Thank you. Mr Forster, please.
Through you, Madam Mayor, thank you, Ms Guest, for your question. In regards to the assets, and particularly sporting assets, most sport and recreation clubs within Greater Dandenong have some representation of residents from other municipalities, as many of our residents also participate in other local government areas as well. Participation and membership numbers are important criteria used in providing facility allocations, as well as decision-making on Council's investment into upgraded and new sport and community facilities. In developing master plans, Council consults with local residents to ensure the passive elements are included, not just buildings. In regards to the Dandenong Community Hub, a parking survey has been done of all 3 concept models, and the costings associated with the Dandenong Hub include additional car parking determined to service the use of the facility as well, without impacting upon existing market car parking.
Thank you, Mr Forster. Ms Weatherall, are there any questions from last council meeting to take on notice?
From the last council?
From the last council meeting that were taken on notice.
Yes, there were, and they have been tabled in tonight's minutes.
Great, thank you. Item 4, Officers' Reports, Part 2. 4.1 Contracts. 4.1.1 Contract number 2223 20-36, reconstruction of Ordish Road, Dandenong South. Moved by Councillor Garrard, seconded
Happy to second.
by Councillor Milkovich. Are there any questions? Councillor Dark?
Thank you, Mayor. Mayor, just a question to the relevant officer. I travel on Ordish Road every day on my commute to and from work and multiple times on appointments. And I'm very much aware of how very poor condition Ordish Road is in the lead to Mark Anthony Drive. The concern I've got is given the amount of heavy trucks, and I mean very, very heavy trucks, Cleanaway has B-double trucks as well, and the length and the way that the road is at the moment, that potentially if we are doing the same thing again in terms of just putting the same asphalt down, very, very quickly the road may be looking at disintegrating. My question to the relevant officer was, were any additional, I suppose, ideas explored in terms of potentially using a concrete base rather than a standard natural base, or any other options to try and hold the strength and capability of the road for bigger trucks?
Thank you, Councillor Dark. Mr Trinkagana, please.
Thank you, Mayor. A number of pavement options were considered, and what you're saying is correct. If we just coated what was there with an overlay of asphalt, it would very quickly deteriorate back to what it is. Therefore, the solution we come up is to dig right down to the base, or the sub-base, and then to rebuild all of that asphalt, which will be very disruptive for that area, but it's considered to be the most effective way of getting a long life out of that section of road. So, yes, we did consider a number of options, and we did our geotechnical reports and came up, but it was with a traditional asphalt solution.
Thank you, Mr Trinkagana. Any further questions, councillors? Is there any opposition? As there's no opposition, I declare this item carried. Item 4.2, Policy and Strategy. 4.2.1, Cricket Wicket Policy 2023. Moved by Councillor O'Reilly, seconded by Councillor Long. Are there any questions, councillors?
Yes, Mayor, got a question.
Yes, Councillor Tan.
Just to the relevant officer for everyone watching today, could you please explain what's the cricket wicket policy is about 2023?
Thank you, Councillor Tan. Mr Forster, please.
Through you, Madam Mayor, and thank you, Councillor Tan, for your question. The updating of the cricket wicket policy is proposed to provide appropriate facilities for players to play and practice cricket. Its purpose is to encourage the development of female and junior participation as a developmental pathway. It is proposed to provide facilities that support pathways for local cricketers to achieve regional, state and national cricket team selection, and is proposed to ensure that sporting facility developments provide inclusive and accessible opportunities for the broader community to participate in cricket.
Thank you, Mr Forster. Are there any further questions? Yes, Councillor Tan.
Thank you, Mayor. Yes, on the policy also stated that will be a reduction in standard of service at Noble Park Reserve to a community level from the previous sub-district category in the previous policy. So by reducing the number of teams per turf wicket for the community level clubs to a maximum of 2 teams per turf wicket, so 2 existing clubs would be impacted. So removing the allocation of the turf wicket allocation for the turf grade 5 plus masters of equivalent levels of the cricket will impact on 2 clubs. So these clubs will be need to allocate their teams, the turf grade plus master equivalent to level of cricket to synthetic cricket wicket ground. I know we've done the consultation with the Dandenong and District Cricket Association, and on the report saying there's 2 submissions we received, which proposed only a minor amendment, which is, could you please explain what's the minor amendment about? Thanks.
Thank you, Councillor Tan. Mr Forster, please.
Through you, Madam Mayor, I'm not aware of the specifics of the minor amendments, but I understand that they were just language and grammar adjustments in the report. It wasn't anything that changed dramatically the content of the report.
Okay. Thank you, Mr Forster. Are there any further questions, councillors? Yes, Councillor Dark.
Thank you, Mayor. My question to the relevant officer regarding this, given the consultation with cricket clubs, and I would argue I probably have the most in my ward, what was the feedback from the clubs in general in terms of the amendments with the increase in the demand on women's and kids sport as well, as I suppose in the growth chamber? And for those clubs that may struggle to then hit those targets, what then happens to those clubs?
Thank you, Councillor Dark. Mr Forster, please.
Through you, Madam Mayor, the draft policy was sent out to all cricket clubs within the municipality. Only, as from our previous question, only 2 responded with any suggestions or amendments to those to the policy as written. Certainly, the commitment by council is to work closely with those clubs to help support those development pathways for junior and female cricket. And also, I should say that extensive consultation has gone on with Cricket Victoria and with the association, who all support the content of the draft policy.
Thank you, Mr Forster. Are there any further questions, councillors? Is there any opposition? As there's no opposition, I declare this item carried. Item 4.3 Other. 4.3.1 Audit and Risk Committee Activity Report. Moved by Councillor Garrard, seconded by Councillor Long. Are there any questions, councillors? Is there any opposition? As there's no opposition, I declare this item carried. Item 4.3.2 Draft Minutes of Positive Ageing Advisory Committee Meeting, 9th of February 2023. Moved by Councillor Tan, seconded by Councillor Garrard. Are there any questions? Is there any opposition? As there's no opposition, I declare this item carried. Item 4.3.3 Report on matters discussed at councillor briefing sessions and pre-council meetings. Moved by Councillor Lim, seconded by Councillor Long. Are there any questions? Is there any opposition? As there's no opposition, I declare this item carried. Item 4.3.4 List of registered correspondence to Mayor and councillors. Moved by Councillor Trung, seconded by Councillor Garrard. Are there any questions? Is there any opposition? As there's no opposition, I declare this item carried. Item 5, Notices of Motion. Are there any notices of motion, Ms Weatherall?
No, Madam Mayor.
Okay, thank you. We'll move on to item 6, reports from councillors, delegated members and councillors' questions. Councillor Trung, may I start with you, please?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I would like to ask the traffic lights at the corner of Harrow Road and Corrigan Road, Springvale South. This project has been started and stopped many times. I would like to become some resident and ask me when will it be completed.
Thank you, Councillor Trung. Mr Trinkogana, please.
Thank you, Mayor. Yes, we've had some delays with that project when we discovered some unknown underground services. We've since done a redesign and referred that back to the contractor. So we're now back on track and we plan to have it completed in June.
Thank you, Mr Trinkogana. Councillor Trung? No, thank you. Councillor Milkovich, please.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Some of the events, or one of the events that I've attended was launching of a Magical Getaway Foundation market, which moved from Frederick Wachter Reserve due to the weather issues down to Menzies Hall. Fantastic organisation. If you don't know about a foundation, they support local families who are obviously not in a position to go on holidays, and they actually provide all the funds for the families or, family-related people that actually can go on their first ever family holiday. So fantastic organisation. If you want to support it, they're there every second month, every third Sunday, and all the money that they get from the stall holders and from the entry fees, gold coin donations, go directly to the foundation. They're all volunteers, and all the market stall holders, they donate all the funds that have accumulated over the day. So fantastic, and I think last year, with the help of the council grant, they've managed to send 6 families on holiday from a local school, which was fantastic. They have their first ever family holiday. So if you want to support a worthy cause, this is the one to go for. I wanted to ask you, Madam Mayor, if we could please write a letter to a local Member of Parliament and Minister, also Gabrielle Williams, in support and maybe providing some funding, possibly for master plan for Low Stewart Reserve. It's a long overdue facility that needs to be updated and upgraded for local residents. Since it is her electorate, if we can maybe please ask for that to be written. Thank you.
Of course, Councillor. Councillor Dark.
Thank you, Mayor. Mayor, I had the opportunity to attend, I suppose the highlight event was the Victorian Multicultural Gala dinner with yourself, Councillor Formoso, Councillor Lim and Councillor Mehmedi. Almost forgot about Councillor Lim. And it was a huge event, a huge attendance at this event. A lot of the local community groups were out in force, and it was good to see, I suppose, the diverse multicultural groups that the South East represented. I would say that we probably, if we took everyone that was at the event that had a connection, was involved with the City of Great Dandenong, we probably filled a quarter of the building. It was a very well attended event as well by a lot of the diplomatic corps who came along, ministers, MPs, shadow ministers, just a huge event. And it's always good to see when the community comes together, some really good performers, local performers, to get out and celebrate, I suppose, what it is as being Victorians and being a multicultural community that we are. My first question this evening, I had some further correspondence from John McGregor, who's the Executive Officer at Scouts Victoria. He just wanted to know and just reconfirm from the relevant officer, they are registered with the ACNC, the Australian Charities and Non-for-Profits Commission. They just want to confirm that we have received their certificate when it comes to, I suppose, the ratings and the rates that are payable on their property, and also just to reconfirm their charity status.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Dark. Ms Hanson, please, if you could respond.
Thanks, Councillor Dart. We have received it. It's been referred to our ratings section for review.
Thank you, Ms Hanson. Councillor Dark.
Thank you, Mayor. Mayor, my next question is from Councillor Cameron Howe from the City of Kingston, and it has to do with the reconstruction of the River End Road. The City of Kingston councillors are currently entering their budget phase, as we are as well, and he had asked me to ask the relevant officer whether we had anything within our budget planned or any further correspondence with local MPs about potential funding for the shared user path or the footpath from the Water Sports Centre and the school up towards the freeway.
Thank you, Councillor Dark. Mr Trincogarna, please.
Thank you, Mayor. We have nothing firm in the pipeline at this stage, but obviously we're going through a budget process with Council in the next few months, but we don't have any firm plans at this stage.
Thank you, Mr Trincogarna. Councillor Dark.
Thank you, Mayor. Mayor, I just had, I suppose, one final thing to do with some couple of questions of thanks to our council staff on behalf of a couple of my residents. I raised last week via email to do with a fence that had fallen over that backs onto a very bushy reserve in my ward. The resident was concerned, being a single female living in the house by herself, and the fact that the bush was very, very dense, that the fence was, I suppose, falling down, needing replacing. The quick action from council, within 48 hours, quotation was approved, and works began, and within 3 days the fence was up, which is probably a record to have, I suppose, this work done and to get it done. I received an email as a gratitude thanks, which I'll forward on to the relevant team. And I also received a second from the resident from Kendra who has an electric wheelchair. He attends Walker Reserve quite regularly in the dog park and had issues getting between the two. I raised it in the last council meeting. From there, council officers attended and came up with a solution to replace the old bracket with a couple of bollards, which then were also wide enough to allow his electric wheelchair to get through, which saves him having to travel a kilometre and a half all the way around. He was very, very grateful and wishes to pass on his thanks for that. So if we could pass on those to the relevant officers, that would be great. Thank you.
Will do. Thank you, Councillor Dark. Councillor Lim.
Thank you, Mayor. Just the last fortnight, I was very busy. On Wednesday, the 15th of March, I had a chance to meet with Go Island Proprietary Limited. Actually, that organization or company, I frequently keep in touch with them on a regular basis, almost weekly. Mainly, they can provide a lot of job to so many multicultural community as well, especially manufacturing, agriculture, and also nursery. My point is just our city is a lot of unemployment compared to other municipalities. Probably later on I'm going to ask question anything that we can do for our residents. And also not just that, so many other industry like my pharmacy industry, we need a lot of workers as well, but very difficult to find workers at this stage. On the afternoon, I had a chance to attend citizenship ceremony with Mayor at Springvale Town Hall, and also Thursday, the 16th of March, I had a chance to meet Microsoft team meeting with Caroline Chisholm Education Foundation regarding scholarship for low-income students. They need a lot of advice from me. On the Friday, the 17th of March, I had a chance to meet with Melanie Kurt Courtney. She's a sort of board member of Kids Safe from Monash Children, just discussing about fundraising recently, and also in the afternoon with the CEO Jackie, tour of Springvale. Unfortunately, I had to go to attend the multicultural, what we call Hall Harmony Gala dinner. Therefore, left my CEO wander around by herself after 5 o'clock. Is that right? Sorry about that, because Jim booked for me. I didn't know about. He booked for me in advance. I didn't know at all until the last minute. I realized that. And also on Saturday, the 18th of March, I had a chance with, like Councillor Dark just mentioned, with Mayor and so on, attended Victorian Multicultural Dinner at Convention Centre. That's a very great one. On Sunday, as well, on the 19th of March, in the morning, I had a chance to attend Neighbourhood Harmony Week celebration with Deputy Mayor Lana Formoso. It's excellent. It's unbelievable, honestly. So many nationality turn up, and I said to some community leaders said that next year we're going to ask our council to organize along Springvale, or along Buckingham Avenue instead, in the Springvale Activity Centre. Going to be fantastic. Going to parade along there, we organize that, and we can come back to Springvale Town Hall for sure, but the parade should be along Springvale Road, our boulevard, and also along Buckingham Avenue. It's a great one. Honestly, it's very enjoyable and very colorful, and it's excellent to me, represented by our council. Yeah. And also in the afternoon, I had a chance also to attend Afghan New Year Festival we call Naroz with Councillor Mehmeti and also Deputy Mayor Lana Formoso, and also with some Member of Parliament. And the evening is Mayor attended with Julian Hill and so on. On Monday, we had a bit of discussion with Peter Koger about our issue about community safe and so on. On Tuesday, the 21st of March, I had a meeting with Liverwell, Hepatitis of Victoria. Their representatives sent one representative see me regarding to a health seminar on a Friday, the 31st of March. He wanted me to be there with one of their representatives to educate about how to take care of their liver and hepatitis and so on and so on. For Sri Lankan community, actually, I accepted that invitation for this Friday coming up. And also, I had a chance in the afternoon meeting with Springvale Mandarin Network representative. The idea they come is to need help again from our council. I'm going to talk to relevant officer later on. And also, with another representative coming as well, Victorian Chinese senior representative. They need a lot of help as well. That one is part of my responsibility as well, because they just newly founded. Yeah, but for Mandarin Springvale Network, I support them for many years. I'm the one helping to establish their association. On Wednesday, the 22nd of March, I attended ComSafe Forum with Mayor, and also Councillor Long, and also the CEO with me as well, and also so many Chief Commissioner, Shane Patton, and so on, a very big team from police force. And also afternoon, I had a chance again to meet the CEO of Friend of Refugee, Mrs. Sri Sami, regarding to health issue, education. They want me to be part of the program of education, to try to educate our residents, and especially another issue is financial difficulty for that association, that organization. On the Thursday, the 23rd of March, I'm meeting in discussion with representatives from Cambodian, Laos, and Thai. Just they really interested in Songkran New Year, but all maybe because so many other nationalities want to be part of it, even Vietnamese want to be part of it, Chinese as well. I think about maybe we change to multicultural New Year instead, probably in the future. Just a plan. And also on Friday, 24th of March, I'm meeting with Mrs. Leanne Wong from Salvation Army regarding what we call multicultural racial appeal, that I myself helping to establish that organization we call Multicultural Racial Appeal, belong to Salvation Army, but I'm part of it from last May. Now this one, we're going to organize the first celebration at Box Hill Town Hall. Yeah, our council can be part of it if love to. I'm going to talk to the relevant officer personally face-to-face later on. it can be part like we promote our council more. And also on Saturday, the 25th of March, a meeting with Liverwell again, representative again, just to discuss about, they want me to be part of what we call the Liverwell or Hepatitis of Victoria, part of what we call Liverwell Clinical Reference Group. And they want to be like that and sent by the manager of Liverwell, Adrian Hubble. I said, okay, I'm going to accept that position, just only probably 4 times a year meeting. And also, secondly, they want me to educate their staff in the Melbourne. I said I won't be able to go, therefore, they're going to organize my team meeting or Zoom meeting, going to educate all the staff from Liverwell or Hepatitis of Victoria, just to educate them about clinical side of hepatitis more and how they're going to educate community. If they ask some question regarding to clinical or some issue about treatment, whatever, this one going to happen on this Wednesday coming up. I'm going to give them some sort of education to understand what a liver this is all about. At least they have some more knowledge to educate our community in a very profound understanding. And also on Sunday, the 26th of March, I attended below with Councillor Sean O'Reilly. We call below the Pedathon actually, a Sandown Race Course. It's a great one. Honestly, to you, it's part of Men Health More. And I understand this is a great one that we can educate our men to understand their problem. And this organization is amazing, ANZUP, ANZUP. It tried to help all the men that have cancer problem, like from prostate to bladder to all other secret. I can't say that, but I'm very happy maybe not Sean say that, or maybe better. And that's a great one. They raised a lot of funds, more than $2 million, up to now more than $2 million to do research, 36 clinical trial as well. Yeah, thanks. That's about all for my activity the last fortnight. My first question is anything that we can help our residents to find a job, because very desperate, so many industry need a job or need a worker for this sort of recruit agency. Anything that we can do, we can inform our residents that we have plenty of job. Can you come along to join us? Thanks for that.
Thank you, Councillor Lim. Mr. Forster?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Thank you, Councillor Lim, for your question. I have to take that on notice and probably consult with my colleague, the Director of Business Engineering Major Projects, around what initiatives our business department has going on in regards to employment. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Forster. Councillor Lim.
Thank you, Mayor. That's all for me. Thanks.
Thank you, Councillor Lim. Councillor Long.
These are some of the events I've attended since my last formal meeting. On the 15th of March, I had my photo taken with the Melbourne Cup with one of our tenants, RMBL, level 4 and 5 of this building. 22nd of March, I attended the Police Forum at Springers. 25th of March, I attended the JP Forum at Springvale Community Hub. And the 26th of March, I attended the Road Safe South East motorcycle first aid course at the Dandenong office. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Long. Councillor Tan.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Tonight I just got a few questions for our relevant officer. So the first one, just to Mr. Craig, just continue on the Harold Road and Corrigan Road traffic light. So I know that we do have the stand display already for the construction that's started on the 20th of March, which is from last Monday, to the 5th of June. So, but nothing has been started yet. Just wondering, with the construction, are they going to do, is it in the evening or during the day? Do you know about the project, Mike?
Thank you, Councillor Tan. Mr. Trinkagana, please.
Mayor, I'll have to take that on notice and I'll check the construction program and respond.
Thank you, because the reason I'm asking, because Corrigan Road is really busy road, usually peak hour as well. So if you're going to do like during the day, so what will be the alternate route? Because at the moment it's just congested really bad during peak hours. Yeah, so we can get back. That would be great. Thanks.
Thank you, Councillor Tan.
Second question, this is regarding just a follow-up question. I'm still waiting from the officer report regarding to Heatherton Road and roundabout upgrade. So the last discussion was we're waiting for Department of Transport to get back to us. That's back in February 2023, so last month. Have you got any update on that yet? Thanks.
Thank you, Councillor Tan. Mr Trinkogana, please.
Thank you, Mayor. No, I haven't heard anything further for that, so I'll follow that up and get an update provided.
Thank you. Councillor Tan. Thank you. Councillor Garrard, please.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Madam Mayor, I'd like to start with a question, just a follow-on question from some of the many questions we've had regarding the Dandenong Hub. Could I ask the relevant officer to confirm for me the role of a concept plan as opposed to the role of a detailed plan? My understanding is that a concept plan is the foundational document from which the detailed design is developed. And therefore, it's critical that the concept plan has all of the foundational elements in it before that you can go on to a detailed design process. Can I have confirmation that that is the role of a concept plan?
Thank you, Councillor Garrard. Mr Forster, please.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Thank you, Councillor Garrard, for your question. Probably refer to my colleague across the room in regards to the difference between the specific difference between a concept design and detailed design, but I can state that all three of the concept designs that we have produced all provide all of the facilities as outlined in Notice of Motion 89 from 2020 that required all the concept to contain all of the foundational services that were detailed in that NOM.
Thank you, Mr Forster. Mr Trinkogana, please.
Thank you, Mayor. Yes, I can confirm that the different levels of design concept is to develop the broad outlines, and then detailed design is where you develop the design so it can be tendered out for construction.
Thank you, Mr Trinkogana. Councillor Garrard, please.
Thank you so much for that confirmation that the concept plan must have all the foundational elements that will go on to be designed. Therefore, it is critical that the concept plan is fully developed before it goes on to the detailed design. So I thank you so much for confirming that. Madam Mayor, I had the honour and the pleasure of representing you at the Polari Annual Stage Show Multicultural Fest, which there was great excitement because it had been cancelled for 3 years due to COVID. It was a phenomenal turn-up of the Indian community. We have, as you know, 140,000 Indian of origin people within 20-kilometre radius of the city of Greater Dandenong. There was tremendous energy and tremendous excitement at the event, and it was there were representations from every level of government showing the significance of that event. I also want to shout out to the phenomenal residents in the Keysborough South ward who once again put on a phenomenal event on Sunday, the Keysborough Market, the Easter event. Hundreds of people came out from the community. It was tremendously well patronised. The weather gods were on our side. There was music, there was a festive feel, and there was a tremendous level of enthusiasm by the community to support this event. And just a reminder, it's all run by volunteers, it's not for profit, and shout out to those extraordinary individuals that have spent so much time organising and once again putting on an outstanding event. Also want to shout out to 4 other phenomenal women in that area. Christine Keys, who, as we know, is from a very prominent Keys family in that area. Elizabeth Grosso, Gay Guest, who we refer to with affection as the 12th councillor, and Heather Lewis. We spent time together today. We visited our local state member, Mr. Tim Richardson, and we were extremely pleased with his level of enthusiasm to help us support, to preserve the chapel. The incredibly important historical chapel, which is on Chapel Road in Keysborough South, has enormous cultural significance to the area, and we now have 3 levels of strong government support. We have the Attorney-General, Mark Drakos, who is strongly supportive. We now have the state member, Mr Tim Richardson, and also Council has been very supportive for years. We also have tremendous councillor support. So it's very pleasing that we now have very strong support from all levels of government, and we're hopeful now to be able to progress the preservation of this really significant historical entity, or whatever you want to call it, within Keysborough South, and we really look forward to our journey in converting that into an arts and cultural precinct for the area. So, Madam Mayor, my first question, I had a question tonight on Ben Road and about the consultation for my residents on Ben Road. I'm very pleased to see that the council has organised a meeting with those residents in Ben Road who are experiencing really severe noise disruption and light pollution from the development of the light industrial area very close to their houses. So I thank the council for making that meeting and meeting with the residents to hear of their concerns. My next questions, Madam Mayor, are regarding a statement that was made in the last meeting regarding the design for the new $98 million Dandenong pool. I was given a figure on the energy utilisation rate, which, if correct, is almost half the energy utilisation rates, by almost halves the very best in the world in terms of energy efficiency. My question is twofold. Does the council still stand by that figure, or has an error been made and in fact solar input been put into that figure which is not the correct methodology? Could I have that confirmed?
Thank you, Councillor Garrard. Mr Chinkogana, please.
Thank you, Mayor. I'll have to answer that in two parts. So there's no error made in the calculations of the energy use intensity, but the new facility is expected to be using about 2,875 megawatt hours annually of electrical energy. The estimated figure of 204 kilowatt hours per square metres does include the solar photovoltaic input, and the energy use intensity is estimated in the order of 261 kilowatt hours per square metre without the solar. The proposed solar power system is estimated to generate about 735 megawatt hours per year, and the new centre is estimated to use annually 627 megawatt hours from the solar photovoltaic system, and then 2,248 megawatt hours from the grid to supplement that. It's important to state that the estimated EU can be influenced by many things, which include the number of people using the facility at any one time, operational settings, for example, where we set the heating, ventilation and air conditioning systems, ongoing plant maintenance. The audits for this have already commenced, and they will review the energy use, the ESD measures, including the proposal and the proposed operational projections. We expect to be in a position to report this back to Council in May.
Thank you, Mr Chinkogana.
Can I just clarify what I heard? Has the audit already commenced? And do we have the terms of reference? And what guarantee do we have that that was actually an independent audit?
Thank you, Councillor Garrard. Ms Weatherall.
Through you, Mayor. I'll take some of that on notice. The person leading the peer review for the architectural and ESD is Yara Plavs from Harms Charlie, and this was in an email from Mr Kersley to me. And she's been involved with the Glen Ira pool review. She's got a strong background with ESD, which makes her a nice fit for this assignment. And she may also call on other people. And I've got Yara's background details for your information. And on the operations side of the review, OT and Planning Group are reviewing the operational projections for the centre, and they have extensive experience in the industry and the preparation of financial projections for aquatic and leisure centres. South East Leisure are also involved in reviewing the projections. In regards to the scope of the around the review of the ESD, I don't think that they have commenced at this point in time. I think it's they've done some preliminary work, so I'll come back to you. I'll take it on notice because Mr Kersley isn't here.
Thank you, Ms Weatherall. Councillor
Thank you
Garrard.
for that information. So just to be clear, we will be made aware of the terms or the scope of the review prior to that being commenced. Is that correct?
Ms Weatherall.
Through you, Madam Mayor, I'm happy to provide that information to all councillors, and if there's any concerns about it, we'll amend it if required.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Ms Weatherall. My next question is regarding a task force, a notice of motion put up by Councillor Mehmeti and myself back in 2020 regarding the setting up of a task force to monitor the air quality in the Dandenong South area. Just a question regarding the progress made on the formation of that task force.
Thank you, Councillor Garrard. Mr Bosman, please.
Madam Mayor, thank you. Through yourself, Councillor, sadly, there's not been much progress at all. To date, council officers have written to two different ministers, being the Minister for the Environment and the Minister for Climate Action. And we've also written to the Premier, Dan Andrews, to seek assistance from the EPA to communicate with the community in Keysborough in relation to their numerous odour complaints. Council officers have also met with EPA representatives in May last year, and unfortunately since May last year, and it's nearly a year ago, nothing further of substance has progressed from that meeting. However, the EPA and council compliance officers, this is where there has been some liaison, have been on the ground and investigating a number of properties that are of concern and are known to be contributing to offensive odours in Keysborough and the Dandenong South area, and the EPA has prosecuted some of these businesses, which has seen a reduction in the odour impacting activities of these individual businesses, but overall the problem still remains. In relation to the implementation of the air quality monitoring devices in the area between Dandenong South Industrial and the Keysborough residential areas, we're not aware of any monitoring undertaken by the EPA in this area. Council is communicating with the EPA on a range of issues. The concerns of our residents of Keysborough South is noticed at the highest levels of council and will be on the agenda to be discussed in a future meeting between our CEO, Jackie Weatherall, and the CEO of EPA, Victoria, Lee Mises. So this is a matter of ongoing frustration, but ongoing advocacy, ongoing petitioning, and hopefully we will get some action in due course on that notice of motion.
Thank you, Mr Bosman.
Thank you,
Councillor
Mayor.
Garrard.
I thank the officer for that response. But I believe that was a response to a different question, but I thank you because that was my next question. So thank you for the response regarding the EPA and the odour. My question then was around the task force. I'm happy to leave it now, but I'm just requesting that maybe the task force is looked into in developing the terms of reference for that task force so that we could perhaps progress that further. Just moving on to my next question is regarding the upgrade of Perry Road, which is a long-term project and the impact on the Keysborough South residents. My question is around the timeframes for the staged development of the Perry Road upgrade and where the decision has been made to block off Keys Road and what the timeframe will be for that to happen.
Thank you, Councillor Garrard. Mr Chinkogana, please.
The construction of Perry Road will start at Greens Road and head south. So this first stage won't impact Keys Road. Future stages will be subject to council budget, so I can't predict when we'll get down to Keys Road and then what traffic management measures will take place at the time.
Thank you, Mr Chinkogana. Councillor Garrard.
Thank you. I'm just wondering if we could get broad timeframes because the residents are very concerned about how it impacts them, whether that you have very broad timeframes that we could convey to them when you think that stage might commence. It'd be really helpful just for them planning how they get in and out of the area. Madam Mayor, my second last question is, actually it's my last question. Just a question without notice, just regarding the, and I think it's a question maybe to our CEO, just regarding the where the operational plan development is at for the Keysborough South Hub, how far along we are in progressing that.
Thank you, Councillor Garrard. Mr Forster.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and thank you, Councillor Garrard. I'll have to take that on notice. I know that we answered that a couple of weeks ago, but I just off the top of my head can't recall the specific timelines. Happy to write an email to all councillors informing them where we're at with that.
Thank you, Mr Forster. Thank you, Councillor Garrett. Oh, no, good. Time's up anyway. Councillor Riley.
Thank you. Thank you. Now, I'll just mention an event I attended with Councillor Lim that Councillor Lim has mentioned already. The Fight Cancer Below the Belt Pedal-thon. A great name there. That was held at Sandown Racecourse. It's to raise funds for the Australian and New Zealand Urogenital and Prostate Cancer Trials Group. And it was in the I actually haven't been in that section. Wasn't in like the main, near the main function section, but there's a whole lot of sheds there at Sandown Racecourse, and the participants were cycling from around about 6 a.m. to 12 noon, and it was interesting how sort of at the awards and so on had like Councillor Lim would agree, there was a lot of people from health organisations that were explaining how the funds would all go to the different projects that they were doing, and a lot of those projects wouldn't get funding because they're not going to produce any pharmaceutical drugs, but they are important in a lot of clinical care matters. So that was quite a unique and interesting event. Mayor, I've got a question without notice to the Director of Planning, though, that sort of came up and was mentioned by one of the participants, or asked of me by one of the participants, and I guess we're all interested. Has there been any information come to Council regarding the Melbourne Racing Club's planned redevelopment of Sandown? Because it seemed to be progressing, and then there was a board election of the MRC like round about September last year, and I don't know if that's changed the general view of what the MRC was planning for Sandown. But interested if there's any update on that.
Thank you, Councillor Riley. Mr Bosman, please.
Madam Mayor, thank you through yourself. Councillor Riley, the election of the new board at the MRC hasn't really changed the direction by the MRC in looking to rezone the site. There are still a number of questions, and I think we're pretty close to answering those questions between us and the MRC that what was formerly known as DELP, the State Planning Office, have around particular wording in the ordinance, in the proposed ordinance. We ourselves had a couple of questions, and I think that once we've resolved those questions, the probabilities of it then being able to go out to community consultation are pretty high. It seems to have been the last question to be asked and answered. We will be having a meeting with the executive, and in fact our CEO will be meeting with their CEO shortly, just in terms of getting an update. I don't believe that it will be an update that says we're going into a different direction. It's just part of the regular updates and touching base between the parties, and that's probably going to happen fairly shortly. But to answer the question, no fundamental change in direction. They still are proposing to rezone the site, and we're still working towards getting it out on public exhibition, which I expect will happen within the next month or two. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Mr Bosman. Thank you, Councillor Riley. Since our last meeting, I've attended a number of events. We were visited by a mayoral delegation from Perth a couple of weeks ago. They were here in Noble Park to observe the level crossing removal project as they are looking to go overhead as well. And it was great to have some conversations with the Perth mayoral delegation. Also attended officiated over 2 citizenship ceremonies where we saw about nearly 300 new citizens. So again, another wonderful moment in the role as mayor to be able to be part of such a special and significant moment in our community's lives. I also attended the launch of the Monash Precinct Network at Clayton, part of Monash University, and alongside the Mayor of Kingston and the Deputy Mayor of Monash. So it's a great opportunity for this area, the southeast area, to connect with the Monash Precinct Network. Also attended the launch of the Wellsprings for Women's Cultural Cuisines food trailer, which was just launched out here in Harmony Square. It's going to be quite exciting to see their food truck or food trailer out and about, but I'm also hoping that it will be at a number of our community events as well. That night I attended the 2023 BACTA Women of the Year Award dinner, and there are some amazing nominations and some wonderful women that contribute to our community quite significantly. And it was just a great celebration of women, but also our cultural diversity. Speaking of cultural diversity, attended the Victorian Multicultural Gala dinner with a number of my fellow councillors. And again, as Councillor Dark mentioned earlier, that it was really a strong representation of our community. Many from our community in the city of Greater Dandenong, our community organisations were present there, and it was a great opportunity to network with them further, but also just to celebrate our state's multiculturalism, and to see Greater Dandenong represented quite significantly there. And attended the Afghan New Year Festival, or Nowruz Festival, hosted by the Victorian Afghan Associations Network, and that was held in Dandenong Park. And I do not think I've seen a greater gathering of people, with tens of thousands of Afghans and people from outside the Afghan community represented there. It was an amazing festival. Very hard to get through from the back of the park to the stage area, but that's a great sign of a fantastic event. And I also attended the Mayoral Task Force for People Seeking Asylum meeting that was held at the Melbourne Town Hall. So I'm really grateful to the City of Melbourne for hosting us for this particular meeting. A great opportunity to be able to then bring along some more councils to join our mayoral task force on such an important cause in terms of advocating for people seeking asylum. And a group that works so hard in our community, Friends of Refugees in Springvale, they work so hard for people who are seeking asylum. Myself and the CEO, Ms Weatherall, we paid a visit to the Friends of Refugees and met with Sri Sammy and Ros Blades, who work tirelessly to support our new arrivals. So I guess watch this space with the work that they do. They're there with passion and genuine drive to help those in need. It was quite timely because we also celebrated Harmony Day on Tuesday the 21st of March. And our libraries ran a number of events to celebrate Harmony Day, and one of them I attended at Springvale Library, where henna artist Sarah Hassani, although it's faded now, but did do some great art on my hand. So it was fantastic to show that off a little bit with pride, and demonstrate our multiculturalism. And like my fellow councillors, I attended the Victoria Police 2023 Community Safety Forum, and this is one of two that are being held in the state of Victoria. So to be conducted here in the city of Greater Dandenong, where the Chief Commissioner, Shane Patton, and Deputy Commissioner were in attendance. along with our local police, answering a number of questions from our community members, including students from Keysborough College. It was just a great opportunity to have local issues discussed and many questions answered. I also attended the All Souls Mausoleum opening and blessing at the Springvale Botanical Cemetery, another great space, as much as cemeteries are probably not the best or the most liked places to go to, but this All Souls Mausoleum was actually quite a spiritual place, and they've put a lot of thought into the design and development of this place. And I guess finally, I attended my old primary school, St Anthony's Primary School, just last week, where I got involved in their daily laps around the oval as part of the Get Active, Get Moving campaign. I might have slowed down the kids with my slow walking, but it was a fabulous opportunity to get back to my primary school, have a chat with the students and the staff, meet one of the teachers that actually taught me at the school, and the questions that the kids had was just fabulous. So that's it from me. And Ms Weatherall, are there any outstanding questions from our last meeting to be taken on notice?
Yes, Madam Mayor, and they're tabled in the minutes.
Thank you. Item 7, urgent business. As there's no urgent business, I declare tonight's meeting closed at 8:24 p.m. Thank you, everyone, and have a good evening.